Hello, everyone. It's Alex Caputo-Pearl, president of United Teachers Los Angeles, coming to you on Thursday, April 2nd. And this is our regular show. We're doing it, usually I do these on Friday. We're doing it on Thursday this time because people are going to be on break tomorrow, Friday, April 3rd. So very, very happy to be with you. You're here in my cluttered Caputo-Pearl household that I share with my wife and my two kids. We've got some new clutter for you. It's down on the floor. You probably can't see it. It's the big, massive posters that the nurses union, my wife is a nurse, the nurses union provided these huge posters that they put on each floor of the hospital so that everybody knows the behaviors that they need to have dealing with coronavirus. So we should all just start off with a big thank you to all of the nurses out there, all of the grocery workers out there, all of the workers that continue to work outside the house during this very scary time. Start off the way we always do. We love you, our UTLA members, our educators. You all are awesome. Our students, we love our students so much, and public education, and our parents who are working with us in this very difficult time. It's notable that on Friday, tomorrow, that's Cesar Chavez Day, so we want to honor Cesar Chavez tomorrow, a great union leader. It's notable that we have tomorrow off, that educators are off, students are off. You don't have to worry about academics for a little while. And then we've got the next week off, which is spring break. And from the beginning, as soon as things got shut down, UTLA was pushing to make sure that we would get a break. We need that spring break. It is notable that there are many districts across the country that have actually foregone spring break. They've actually canceled spring break. So the fact that we've got it here in LA is another testament to our strength, our collective strength as a union. So hashtag Union Strong is always the way to go on social media. And I'm wearing red today. I know it's a Thursday, but I'm wearing red anyway to remind you that every Tuesday in your virtual faculty meetings, everybody should wear red. It makes a difference. Everybody should wear red. So we are staying at home. We are in shelter in place. We as educators can model that. We are important models for society. We always have been throughout history. We always will be. So we're modeling sheltering in place. So make sure you stay safe and healthy at home. A couple of things just to, not as if we need reminders of the gravity of the situation, but take a look at the LA Taco article. I think it's being posted up at the bottom right now in the comments. There's an LA Taco article from yesterday that talks about students, young people, who are having to go out and try to sell different things. They've made makeshift masks, other things, because their parents have lost their jobs. Their parents are hotel and restaurant employees. Their parents are other folks in the supply chains for big corporations, and with business down, they've lost their job. We could be facing 30% unemployment or more. What that LA Taco article looks at, and make sure you look at it, is that this economy that we've had in the United States, it doesn't work for our students. Our students are 85% low income students. This economy doesn't work for our students. We can't go through economic crashes every 10 years with underemployment already making people suffer on the year by year and day by day basis, and then a crash every 10 years. It doesn't work for our students. It doesn't work for the public sector and publicly funded things like public schools. So take a look at that. Luckily, we're working with a great group of students, many students across the district, an organization called Students Deserve. That's hashtag Students Deserve. So again, I think that's at the bottom of the screen right now. So make sure you go and look at what Students Deserve is doing, this youth organization. They have come up with a series of demands from a youth's perspective. These are from the mouths of our students for things like not just a temporary moratorium on rent, but a cancellation. Because what's going to happen 6 months down the line if people are forced to pay their debt? People are going to be evicted anyway. It just won't happen now. It'll happen 6 months from now. So our students are saying this. Second, our young people here in LA are saying Release family members and loved ones from jail right now. Jails are becoming a place where this virus is even spreading with more wildfire than out in society. And we've got to take care of our folks. Many of our students have connections and loved ones in the jail system. We've got to make sure that those folks are taken care of. So they're calling for a release so that there can be shelter in place at home with their loved ones. Our students, hashtag students deserve, are calling for, when we come back from this crisis to our schools, we need to see a huge boost in mental health staffing, counselors, folks who take care of mental health, folks who work with families, all of our health and human services. We need to see a huge bump up in the numbers of staffing to help our students. So again, we at UTLA, we're so proud that we have been path-breaking across the country, how much we're working with and investing in student organizations. This is very unusual for unions to do this. We've done it for 6 years now. So hashtag Union Strong for our union, leading the way on working with youth. And just remember that this is a situation where our students and their families are suffering greatly. There's a fundraiser today that LAUSD is putting on. This is something that you should check out, and if there's anything that you can do, that would be great. It's called the LA Students Most in Need Fundraiser, okay? And that is also going up in the comments section right now. So let me get to the bulk of what I'm going to talk about here. Y'all are doing great work. Our educators are doing incredible work with students every day. And we see a lot of that great work reflected in the hashtag Sheroes at Home in that track on social media, where we have heroes and sheroes doing great work and posting it up on social media. We're in bargaining today. This is Thursday. We're in bargaining today to try to make sure we've got the best guardrails possible around how we're doing instruction right now. I will remind you, we are trying to do education in a completely different way overnight. Okay, that doesn't happen quickly. So we're in bargaining today on those guardrails, and we've been collaborative with the district throughout this process. But we sent a letter last night. I want you to look at that letter. We're posting that in the comments section now. I need to make something very, very clear. This is coming from all of the officers of UTLA. And this letter that we sent out has gotten quite a reaction from the district, from principals, from local district personnel. Our members need to be left alone to do their work with our students and with our families. We are not going to stand for ridiculous micromanagement. We're not going to stand for onerous directives. We're not going to stand for time-wasting regimes that principals or local district personnel come up with. Okay? There are many principals out there who have been great. There are many local district personnel out there who have been great. But there are also some principals and local district personnel who are giving onerous directives, wasting our time, and micromanaging, and taking us away from what educators need to be focused on, which is our students and our families. And remember, teachers don't just leave their personality at the classroom door. Our educators are leaders in our community. We are caretakers. We take care of others in our community. We need to be focused on right now, not some little micromanagement detail from an administrator who thinks that they want to, set new rules. So let me go through a couple of things here. And I want to be clear about this, that when administrators or local district personnel give us onerous directives, time-wasting things, or micromanagement, you are taking us away from the humanity of our jobs. The humanity of our jobs is working with students and families and with our communities. If this doesn't stop, we will be forced to resist what administrators are putting forward, okay? So let me go through a couple of things. One, and these are all in this letter. Number one, administrators, if you're using Zoom, and we're bargaining about not having to use live video if you don't want to, but if you are using Zoom, there's no reason your administrators should be on that Zoom class or call with you. There are plenty of things for an administrator to do, including getting in touch with the tens of thousands of students who we have lost touch with. Second, it makes sense to track student contact, but many of us are already doing that through MISIS, okay? So we are not going to stand for duplicative work, being asked to fill out MISIS plus another student contact log. That is a waste of time. Um, so do what you need to do in terms of basic tracking of student contact through MISIS or whatever other method you use, but don't duplicate that work. That wastes our time and takes us away from our students. Third, special education and itinerants. It makes sense for these folks to be in contact, and many of them are already with their students, with families, etc. What it does not make sense for these folks to do is be directed by an administrator without federal guidance. We're still waiting for federal guidance on special education and special education itinerants. Principals, local cannot just make up their own rules without federal guidance and tell these special education teachers and itinerants to do certain things. No, you shouldn't be doing that. You should be in contact with families, contact with your students, working with the general ed teacher, but don't do directives that don't have federal guidance behind them. Fourth, lesson plans. Of course, as usual, like we do. I mean, I taught for 22 years, so I know this. You show evidence of planning. If you can plan out for a few days, make sure that it's planned out for a few days. If you get sick, an administrator can come in and take over your class for a few days and know where you were headed. But that does not need to be a detailed lesson plan. Making us write detailed lesson plans right now for the week is a waste of our time, and it takes us away from our students and from our families. So again, show evidence of planning, which is what we always need to do within our contract. Try to do it a few days out, but do not do detailed plans that are just for the ego of the administrator. Fifth, schedule at home. Your schedule at home should be made on your discretion. You are the one who are connecting with your students, connecting with your parents, etc. You make that. Try to make your schedule as predictable as possible for students and for families. Give them a heads up about what the week is going to look like, but that's your discretion. Administrators should not be telling you how to make your schedule of what you do each week. Administrators should not be making a bell schedule saying that you need to be doing certain classes at each time. So this is at your discretion, your schedule. Sixth, open houses are not required. There was a whole thing that started this week about administrators saying, oh yeah, open house, open house, open house. Open houses are not required. If your school wants to do it, you're down for it, go for it. If not, it's just getting stress that we don't need right now. Seventh, faculty meetings. There is no reason for an administrator or a local district personnel to require more than one faculty meeting per week. If they want to do one faculty meeting per week, our contract is still in place. So if they're getting up to that total number that they've had throughout the year, they've got to be careful with that. But they should absolutely not be having more than one faculty meeting per week. And faculty meetings that are held should be held during normal work hours. Okay. And remember, wear red on those virtual faculty meetings. But again, none of this 3 or 4 faculty meetings per week. Eighth, on professional developments. We work with the district to push that deadline back till April 17th. Okay. The district is having a lot of technology issues with developments and with school issues. They need to fix that. If it's not fixed, then that deadline is going to bump past April 17th, or frankly, we just won't do the professional developments. The technical problems need to be fixed. There is no reason that an educator who is trying to educate their students and take care of their family and take care of their kids and help their kids with their work and be in an incredibly stressful situation with a pandemic, there's no reason for that educator to have to sit in front of a computer for an hour waiting for a professional development screen to come up. So April 17th, if anyone is pushing you for before April 17th, tell them no. And if they don't have the technical problems fixed by April 17th, it's either going to push further or we're not going to do them. Yes, you should have office hours, predictable office hours where families can get in touch with you if they want to. But administrators shouldn't determine that. You should determine that with your own schedule. Okay? Don't let anybody try to determine that for you. And finally, any onerous directive that you get from an administrator, ask them for it in writing. If it's unreasonable, if it seems onerous, if it seems to be taking you away from the most fundamental things right now. The most fundamental things are connection with your students and connection with your families. Your family needs you right now. So if there is any onerous directive that is wasting your time or taking you away from those most fundamental things of your students and your families, ask that administrator to put it in writing, uh, and then immediately get that writing to your chapter chair and um, your area representative for UTLA. I will say this again: if these onerous directives from certain principals and from local district personnel do not stop, then we will be forced to resist. You're not going to be taken away by busy work from the real work, which is humanity and being with the human beings that need us. Okay, we're going to be in very good touch with you about that. Like I said, we're in bargaining today to try to get an agreement that really outlines guidance better. We're also going to send out an all-member email today that has an updated FAQ, frequently asked questions, where we're going to get into, for example, grades. The grading window has been pushed back to April 14th. The state has said that students need to be held harmless. A student can't get a lower grade now than they had on March 13th when schools closed. So we've got some more guidance on grades that will be in the FAQ. We are making sure that the great substitute agreement that we got, by the way, again, because we have a strong organized union, we got the best agreement for substitute educators across the state and probably across the country. We're making sure to work with the district on implementing that. There'll be new information on that. We're tracking the federal guidelines. We're waiting for federal guidance on IEPs. I know this is a stressful issue for many of our special education educators. We're tracking that. We're going to keep you up to date on that in the frequently asked questions. And then there's some issues around PE certification, physical education certification, which we'll deal with in the frequently asked questions. So that's coming later today, an all-member email with frequently asked questions. Okay? So everybody's got to hang in there. You're doing great. You are about, 5, 6, 7 hours away. I mean, however many hours away from a nice break. You deserve it. Cesar Chavez Day, celebrate unions and celebrate Cesar Chavez tomorrow, and then have a great spring break. And I'm going to end with this. Look at the LA Times today. On, I think it's page A6 of the LA Times, there is an article about how basically all economists are saying that the recession or depression that we will face after this virus piece is over with, the recession or depression that we will face is going to be much worse than what we faced in 2008 and 2009. I want you to think back to 2008 and 2009. We know how difficult that was. There were cuts to essential services for our students. We had layoffs. We had furloughs. We had the privatizers and the charter industry trying to make hay of the desperation that the public schools were in. And our union wasn't as strong back then in 2008, 2009. We are much stronger now. But it is going to be a war. We have to be on war footing to protect students from cuts, to protect our coworkers from layoffs, to protect ourselves from furloughs, and frankly, to protect society from things like evictions, from cuts to other social services, etc. We need to be on war footing. So use what we're doing now to organize yourselves at your school virtually, wearing red, being in contact with everyone. Use those connections at your school to get through right now and to be ready for that war footing for the recession and depression fight that we're going to be in after this. We got to take care of business then and now. And I want to mention that we are a part of, UTLA is being looked at now and internationally for how you organize a union and how you organize fights around bread and butter issues like healthcare, which we've protected 3 times over the last 6 years, and around social justice issues. So Forge is a new publication. It's called The Forge, And I think they're going to put it up in the comments section right now. You should read. Take a look at The Forge. It talks about how unions are fighting for themselves and for their workers and for their interests, and also for broader society. And UTLA is highlighted in that. This is another thing that you should look at in terms of educating yourselves politically about the fight ahead. So that's called The Forge. It's put out by the Bargaining for the Common Good Network, which is a national network that UTLA is a part of. Last thing I'll say just on policy issues is that a letter is going out today about charter co-locations that does make offers to charter schools for co-locations, but it also says that there is an interruption in the process and that there is nothing guaranteed about those charter co-location offers. We wrote a letter last week to Buettner and the school board saying you need to stop the co-location process, the charter co-location process. This letter represents a temporary victory for us where the offers are being made to co-locate on district campuses, but there is specific reference to the fact that the process has been disrupted and nothing is guaranteed about those offers. So we're going to keep up the fight to make sure our schools remain our schools without privatized or charter corporate co-location. If anything has proven that we need to use space at schools for social services, it's this crisis right now. We don't need corporate charter privatizers on our campuses. We need health clinics, other things like that. So if there's space to be used, that's what it should be going towards. So temporary victory on charter co-location. Be proud of that and be proud of your union and our collective strength. So that's going to be the end for today. Again, this is Thursday, April 2nd. Have a great Cesar Chavez Day tomorrow. Have a great spring break. Take that break, folks. Take it. You need a rest. This has been exhausting. So take that break. We love you. We're with you. We support you. Our youth, we support you. Our students, we support you. Our parents, we love our connection with you. And our members, our health and human service folks, our teachers, our educators, we love you. Stay in the fight. We're going to get through this. Take care and have a great day and have a great vacation.